Who introduced you to it? Was it Pops? Was it somebody else? And were you performing with your Pops at this time?
I never really performed with my father. I only traveled with him, set up his drums. He had his orchestra, and they were traveling around the world at that time. So I had to find a niche of my own. So I started getting into Latin dance music. At that time, synthesizers were very popular, samplers, the drum machines and all that. So I got into that bag. And then I started my own little group, and we had a little record, and we got a couple of DJs out, DJ Laz and Muhammad Moretta and some old classic DJs that really, spun my record at the time, and I started getting popular. But people really wanted me to push to play the timbales and do that salsa and mambo music. And I wasn't into it, man. I was still into the rock and the pop music and your music, as a matter of fact. I was a fan. I still am a fan of your music.
Crazy.
And that was really how I got into that bag.
Amazing. Okay. Yeah. Now tell me this. Your dad was really close with Celia Cruz.
Claro que sí. Celia Cruz was
did you guys ever have those days where Celia came over, y'all went over Celia's house, and it was like the Cruz and Puente thing?
Yes. Celia was just an amazing entity, along with her husband, Pedro Knight.
Absolutely.
Celia was practically our godparents for my sister and me growing up. She's seen us when we were born. And she came to New York City in the early 60s, at that time, in the late 50s, early 60s. Yeah. So she was already performing with my father. So my dad and Celia were already a team at that point.
Yes.
And it was great. She would come over the apartment and come over our home.
Yeah.
And it was great to see Celia. She called me Titico. ¿Cómo está mi Titico? And she just shined her Afro-Cuban beautiful self all the time in our family. And she'll forever be remembered as the queen of Latin music in my world.
Absolutely. No doubt.
So, yeah.
Now tell me this. Lady. Remember the big Fania All-Star concert at Yankee Stadium? Were you born for that? Were you there?
I was very, very young. So that was the 70s. So I was probably about 8 or 7 years old. But I do recall Dad going over there and jamming out with them. And they also did a couple of nightclubs after that. That was a big concert. Very big concert.
No, that lineup on that roster for that label was insane, I believe they had Oscar De Leon and all of them. Right.
Man, they had Hector Lavoe, Richie Ray, Bobby Cruz, Ruben Blades, Ray Barreto, Celia Cruz,
Luca,
Saltito Colon,
Luca, Papa Luca.
Papo Luca was the piano player. Larry Harlow, Nicky Marrero, all the great musicians that played in the Fania All Stars. Sure. That was a concert of all time, and I wish I was a little bit older and I would have went to the show myself. But yeah, that was a historical for salsa music.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was a sold out Yankee Stadium. I've seen footage of it, man. I'm another one of those kind of Latinos that my thing was I wanted to get as far away from salsa music. Growing up, I felt it was too colorful and so typical for another Latino to do, And so I went the hip hop route, but I grew to love a lot of those records and a lot of those artists. Of course,